Is now live.
Thanks, Matthew. Hey, Grant.
Hi, Fareed. Good afternoon, everybody.
Good afternoon. How you doing, Dave?
Fine, thanks. How are you?
Good.
Dave, your camera's very fuzzy.
Is it? I don't know why. Just a second here.
Yeah. I've been relegated to a corner of my house where there is no light because there's other things happening in my house. So that's why my image is probably so dark. It's better than being kicked out, right?
That's right. That's
especially in this weather.
Ugh, gloomy. Oh, there's Carrie. Good.
Oh, there's Carrie.
Hello.
Awesome.
Hey, Carrie. How are
everyone.
you?
Excellent, thanks. How is everyone doing?
Very
Good.
well.
We're
Good.
just
Brenda.
waiting for one of the director to get quorum. So those of you who are joining us on the live stream, we're just waiting for one or two other directors to join us to establish quorum.
Yeah.
So bear with us for a minute or two.
Yeah, definitely Brenda.
I know.
Ah. Oops. Yeah.
Liz or Tina, did we hear from Brenda?
I have not, but Tina's been receiving all the replies.
Yeah. She often has a challenge, getting into the meeting initially, but this is her group, so
Mhm.
I know the councillors, they've got budget deliberations, so they may not be able to join us.
Yeah.
Yeah, they gave their regrets.
Right. And as did Jim Meeks.
Oh, so Jim isn't okay. So Brenda is our only hope.
Warren, right?
And Warren, yes, true.
Oh, yeah, Warren is a member of this committee too.
And he
Yeah.
said he wouldn't be able to come on until after 4, right? Because he must be west somewhere. Hopefully,
He goes to California for January and February, so he's.
Geez, it would have been a bit wet down there this year. Ugh.
Oh my.
More than wet. Come on. Wonder if I should try calling, see if I have Brenda's contacts.
In terms of our terms of reference, if we have 50% of the members of the committee, we're good to go.
Right. So do we have 50%? We do.
I'm technically not a member of this committee, but
even I'm not a member of this
no.
committee.
This is really strange.
Yeah, no, because we lost Councillor Ainsley had been part of this committee. Yeah.
I'm just going to try calling Brenda.
How are you settling in, Tina?
Oh, I'm doing good, thank you. Week
Good.
6. Week 6.
Oh, well, you're a pro now.
Not sure about that.
Well,
thank you, though.
Yeah, I say when you're, sort of picking up almost any new job these days, regardless, especially in our environment with, what's going on with the new corporation. And I know I've said this to Grant and Brad, it's like you have 5,000 things on your plate and they keep trying to add, another and another, and
yeah,
it's busy.
we'll get there. right?
Yep, we
One
will.
day at a time.
We will. One foot in front of the other and breathe.
Just sent an email saying he will be attending the meeting. Are we starting?
Oh,
Who-
and Brenda will be on in 10 or 15 minutes. I think she may have gotten time or something a bit confused, but
I think Warren is on Janelle's invite because he says
Oh.
I am on the call.
Oh,
Ah,
darn.
he may have picked it. Well, yeah, because I know Tina reissued them all. So, but Brenda did say we could start. And I just said, well, for something, yeah, something like the compensation report, we can wait till she's on.
Well, I think we can start. The fact that we don't have quorum though, right? I mean, so that's the thing. I mean, we need either Warren or we need Brenda.
mhm.
Brenda will be there. Yeah, 10 or 15 minutes, she said.
Let me send the this invite to Warren so that he can join us now. Forward. Okay.
Maybe while we're waiting, I'll just introduce somebody on the line with us here today. Fatima Mahmood, maybe you can turn on your camera for a sec. Fatima.
My camera's actually not working.
Oh, okay, no worries.
Yeah.
So I just want to let everybody here know. So Fatima joined us this week as the executive assistant supporting both Brad and myself, and she'll also be integrating in and supporting the governance work with the committees going forward. So this is their second day with Toronto Seniors.
And what is your last name, Fatima?
It's Mahmood.
Okay.
Welcome.
Yes.
Great to have you on board.
Yes, we're glad. Very glad. So Tina, any luck with Warren?
No. No, I've emailed him to both of his email accounts and I haven't heard anything. Oh, that could be him now. No, that's not him.
I wonder, he said he's on the call. I wonder if he happened to have Janelle's invite.
Yeah, that's what it
And
is. I just got an email. I just got an email from him as well, Dave, and that's what he's saying.
So I just sent him the new link, and I've emailed him to let him know that he should join on the new link, but he's not here yet.
Can we delete the old one so he doesn't get, so he may not be getting, so he doesn't get confused, or is that not possible?
Yeah, I can delete the old one.
Yeah, I think Tina, it's possible because there were a number of duplicate invites that were sent.
Right.
Just to update it, so this might be a recurring issue.
Okay.
I think we might have difficulties
Oh,
deleting.
Linda. Linda's here.
Yeah. Oh, look at that.
Linda.
There were some good agenda items that I thought I should check in on.
We're short directors, so we're very happy. Not that we
Oh,
aren't
good.
always
Okay,
happy
because
to
I
see you.
thought, okay, I can actually do it. So I thought I'd join in.
There's Warren.
There's
All right,
Yeah.
Warren.
there's
We're
Warren.
good.
Okay, great. Okay,
Yeah,
thanks.
Warren.
Thanks. Welcome, Warren. Great, Linda. So now that we've established a quorum, let me call the meeting of the Corporate Governance and HR Committee of the Toronto Seniors Housing Corporation to order. I'd like to take this opportunity once again to welcome our staff and my fellow directors and all those who are joining us, our tenants and our partners, and all others who might be on the line. Before I read the land acknowledgement, let me also take this opportunity to wish each and every one of you a happy new year. I hope you had an opportunity to spend some downtime with family and friends. We've got a challenging year ahead, and I'm sure that we're all up to the task. So happy new year, and we'll get started with the land acknowledgement. We honor the land that we are on, which has been the site of human activity since time immemorial. It is the traditional territories of the Huron-Wendat, Anishinabeg, the Chippewa, the Haudenosaunee Confederacy, and most recently, the Mississaugas of the Credit River First Nations. Ontario is covered by 46 treaties and other agreements, and it is home to many Indigenous nations from across Turtle Island, including the Inuit and the Métis. These treaties and other agreements, including the One Dish with One Spoon Wampum Belt Covenant, are agreements to peaceably share and care for the land and its resources. Other Indigenous nations, Europeans, and newcomers were invited into this covenant in the spirit of respect, peace, and friendship. We are mindful of broken covenants, and we strive to make this right with the land and with each other. And regarding the African ancestral acknowledgement, we are all treaty people. Many of us have come here as settlers, immigrants, newcomers in this generation or generations past. We would also like to acknowledge those who came here forcibly, particularly as a result of the transatlantic slave trade. Therefore, we honor and pay tribute to the ancestors of African origin and descent. Okay, can I get a motion to approve the public meeting agenda unless there's any amendments or alterations?
So moved, Mr. Chair.
Thank you very much, Warren. Can I get a seconder?
Can any of us second?
Yes.
So moved.
Thanks, Gary. All in favor? That motion is carried. Is there any conflict of interest? Hearing none, if something comes up during the course of the meeting, you're encouraged to declare that conflict. Are there any amendments to the public minutes of meeting that was held on November the 9th, 2022? Any changes to the minutes
I'm
of the
fine.
last meeting? Hearing none, can I get a motion to approve the minutes of the meeting held on November the 9th?
So moved, Mr. Chair.
Thank you very much. Can I get a seconder?
Carrie, second.
Thanks, Gary. All in favor? That is approved. Are there any amendments, additions, deletions, changes to the minutes of the closed meeting that was held on November the 9th, 2022?
No, that's fine.
Hearing none, can I get a motion to approve those minutes?
So moved.
Thanks, Warren. Thanks, Carrie. All in favor? That is approved. Okay, you have before you as item number 7, the action items. Is there anything from that list that anyone wishes to discuss? Can we get the list on the screen if that's possible?
Would you like me to share it?
Yeah, I'd like someone to share it.
Yeah, I'll share it. Can folks see that?
Yeah, thank you. Appreciate it, Grant. Okay.
So
Is
there's
there
4
anything
actions.
on that list anyone wishes to discuss?
There's just the 4 action items.
Yeah. All right. Thanks, Grant. Okay. We now go to item number 8. Mr. CEO, over to you, sir. You're on mute. First time on Teams, eh? Or
As I
WebEx,
was
I
muting
should say.
myself, and that I'm going to forget to unmute myself. Through the chair to the committee, I have just a few kind of small items to update this group on. One, just to let you know, it is the time of year that we look at review of performance for 2022, and I have spoken with Fareed, and I am going to, for my review, prepare that document to review with him, and it will be coming to this committee in March, and then to the board in April. So just wanted to make the committee aware of that timing. Also, I think a very positive announcement, and this was sent to the board, but just wanting to kind of confirm with this committee that Paul Raftis was appointed to the deputy city manager, and as you would have read, he has extensive experience in paramedics, and he also did some interim time in the shelter area and work there. So I think he's quite versed in terms of even housing and the community. So we are pleased to have him in that position. I've had the chance to meet with him, and he is getting lined up and scheduled to participate in our board meetings, and then also those meetings that connect the city, Toronto Community Housing, and Toronto Seniors. So that that work with Paul and his orientation is well underway. And also another item, just wanting to, as of the end of May, I think, or maybe it's the beginning of May this year, that all the board memberships need to be reconfirmed, or if people are going to go off the board, then the selection of new board members. And when I had originally read the terms of reference, it spoke of a nominating committee, which I thought our board would be putting together, but Fareed had me check into that, and in fact, it's through the city that the members will be selected, and so we Grant has followed up with the city, and they have a timeline where with the requirement for new board members if required, because people can choose to stay on, but if we do need new board members, they're working towards a June date, and as per the terms of reference, until a new board members are identified, the others would stay on. So just wanting to let the board know that we have notified the city about that, and so that we have given them time to make sure that that lines up for the organization. And then just my final update is just around the discussion. I don't know whether it was this committee, but I know at the board around the transition agreement, service delivery agreement, and moving towards a lease agreement or a future, whatever that agreement may be. Fareed and I did meet with Paul Johnson, and subsequently, Paul has met with Jag and myself, and is now kind of briefing Paul Raftis on this work. And at the December board meeting of TCHC, it was pointed out that the city will be bringing on a consultant to work on the financial kind of analysis, the financial aspect of the two corporations, and how we begin to solidify further those budgets. But also, I have shared, with Paul, as we, Fareed and I, did, about the need to look at this aspect of outside of the financial work, the agreements and what and where we want to move forward in 2023. So there's that still is in its preliminary stages, and just wanted to provide provide the board with an update on that item. Thanks.
Thanks, Tom. Are there any questions for Tom? Tom, I have a question, and this has to do with the board composition and board membership. I know the chair is appointed for a year. Is that the same for board members, or what's the tenure of board members?
Through the chair to the board committee, if I recall from what I read, it was 2 years, and then you
Okay.
can renew. You can renew up to 3 times, or was it 4 times, Grant? It was 3 or 4
Okay.
times.
And do we know if any of our board members, I don't need to know names, but do we know how many would be expiring in June?
In May, it's
In May.
in May, through the chair, it would be all board members except the 2 councillors.
Yeah.
Oh, okay. Hi, Brenda. Welcome.
Hi.
Thanks for joining us.
Yeah.
That, Mr. Chair, that raises a question. Is it the intention of the corporation to introduce staggered terms for the board?
That's exactly what I was going, Warren, because I think for us to potentially lose all the board members, which is a possibility. I mean, that may not happen, but technically that's possible.
That could be a disaster.
Exactly. So that's why I raised this, and I guess I'll follow up with Tom, and maybe we'll have a discussion with Paul or someone else. But I worry about that, and I see Carrie, your hand is up, so go ahead, Carrie.
Yeah, technically our 2-year term expires on May the 6th. I was going to be in touch with both you, Tom, and Fareed, to ask the city, I guess Grant as well, if at the very least our term could be extended through to the end of May, because we have 3 committee meetings. We have a Quality and Tenant Engagement Committee on May the 9th, and to have someone come in on May the 6th barely gives them time to breathe. The other concern is, now that we know we're having meetings every other month, our final board meeting is at the end of June, and people coming in, new board members coming in, would have an opportunity to at least familiarize themselves with, everything that has gone on before the next round of meetings. Otherwise, it makes it very tough and makes the meetings in May and June perhaps not very impactful.
Yeah, thanks. I'll get to Linda. I agree with you. I think these are real operational concerns, and I'd like to have a conversation with city officials on how we could potentially accommodate existing board members to complete, quote unquote, this cycle, and also find a way to at least have some of the members stay on for continuity purposes. Linda, sorry, go ahead.
Yeah, I just can't help but imagine that more board members will stay on, because it's a kind of an unusual situation that we all started at the same time because the corporation is new. And so, so I think as actually people come off, we could probably stagger, but I'm a little hopeful, Fareed, that people are just actually getting their traction, and that hopefully people will stay on, and that we might not see as much turnover on this go, and then it will probably end up going in a little bit of a cycle. And my experience from TCHC is that sometimes the city process is a little bit more delayed than one would think, and that generally people don't go off until new people come on. So it'll be ambitious to get it all done by June. So hopefully there'll be a little bit of flexibility on that end.
They're always optimistic, Linda. Thanks. A great perspective. Anyone else on anything that Tom raised? Performance review, board membership, the new administration at City Hall? Linda, is your hand still up, or okay? You're good? All right. Okay. If not, we'll move on to item number 9, which is a review of the work plan. Grant, over to you.
Thank you, Fareed. I'll just share my screen. Can everybody see that?
Yep.
Okay, great. So through the chair, So just a bit of context. So as part of moving forward with each of the committees, we're developing a simple work plan view. So previously at Quality, Intent, and Engagement Committee, we had brought forward a similar plan, and really it's looking out to each of the meetings throughout the year and a layout of what the proposed topics for the agendas could be based on different activities at that point in the year and some of the different pieces of the work plan within the corporation. So, and we're doing something here for corporate governance and HR, and then upcoming for audit, finance, and risk as well. Similar views for each meeting. So what you see in front of you is a high-level view for information today of what we're seeing in the meetings coming up throughout the year. So today we note the 2 items that are in the public agenda. Upcoming on March 15th, there'll be a few other items. There may be an update on the lease agreement and transition agreement, further to what Tom had mentioned. We will be looking to have a governance work plan update, and I will just put a little update in that we are still working at the board level to schedule the governance workshop, and that is an active piece of work that we're trying to get scheduled. We had line of sight to some potential times, but we couldn't get enough board members to be able to work with the times originally. So Tina is working on that now, and then subsequently, you'll see some other updates at the future meetings for the rest of the year. This is an item that will develop over the course of the year. So this is to give us a bit of a structure for what will be coming forward when, and to give us an idea of how to plan our agendas. We'll work with the chair, with you, Fareed, or the chair going forward on these as we go through the year, and similarly for the other committees as well. So I'll just open it up for any questions.
Thank you, Grant. Any questions on the work plan for Grant?
No.
I can't see everyone, so if you speak up if I don't call you when you have your hand up. All right, I don't see any question. Thank you very much, Grant. So we'll now move on to item number 10, which is the employee engagement survey. And Dave, are you going to lead us through this one?
Oh, what happened to Dave?
Oh, there we go. Is it, can you see it on the screen now?
Yes, thanks.
Oh, great, thank you. So thank you, Chair. The purpose of the report is to inform the committee of our plan to conduct an employee engagement and equity, diversity, and inclusion surveys in 2023. One of our early priorities has been to focus on the development of an organizational culture that will enable Toronto Seniors Housing to fulfill its mandate. And this will be achieved by engaging, empowering, and supporting our staff. We had a number of early initiatives this year: town halls, listening tours, training, staff communications, introduction of policies such as the right to disconnect from work, hybrid work model, and accelerated recruitment planning to ensure key vacancies were filled in a timely fashion with qualified candidates. And we also worked hard to forge constructive relationships with our labor partners. And there'll be a number of initiatives in 2023 that will be aligned with our interim strategic directions that are evolving as we speak. An important part of the addressing employee engagement is and equity, diversity, and inclusion is to establish baseline data about our workforce, the current levels of satisfaction and employee engagement. This will help to develop action plans and measure our future progress. Toronto Community Housing has had an employee engagement program in place, and the last survey was conducted in 2021. And there were some primary drivers identified for the former senior housing unit staff, and some conclusive results that were translated into work plans prior to the transfer to Toronto Seniors in June. Some of those priorities included creating opportunities to recognize staff delivering the organization's mandate, creating mechanisms for staff development opportunities and work balance, and developing processes for staff ideas to be heard and implemented. Many of our current initiatives are addressing these priorities, and an inaugural survey will help to assess progress and establish important baseline data for future planning. The same holds true for equity, diversity, and strategy. And the Toronto Community Housing Corporation conducted a survey to gather baseline data in early 2022, prior to the transfer. The results were helpful, but somewhat inconclusive. A fresh survey would provide the baseline data that we require to move forward. And our plan is to launch surveys concurrently in the third quarter of this year, once our interim strategic directions are completed and released. Then the results would help inform our action plans for 2024. And we'll be preparing RFP documents to assess and determine the cost of moving forward before we actually confirm that will be our plan in 2023. And thank you, and happy to answer any questions.
Okay, thank you, Dave. Any questions for Dave?
Yes.
Dave, can you take down your share, please?
Yep, I am working on trying to do it, get my screen up. Hang on.
For what it's worth, I mean, I think I know Brenda has her hand up. I think this is an important initiative, and I certainly think it's timely, given that, you know, it's almost a year since the corporation was created, and it'll be a good measure to get a sense of employee engagement and DEI piece. I mean, I don't need to speak to this group about the importance of us getting a handle on that as well. But Brenda, go ahead. You're mute, Brenda.
Sorry about that. Yeah, my question about the equity diversity, is that going to be part of the same survey, the satisfaction or employee engagement piece? Or are they two separate surveys, or are they combined?
It's a good question. There's separate surveys, but they're done at the same time concurrently. That's because of it's becoming a common practice to do both at the same time, but they will be separate for sure.
And the questions that will be asked in the employee engagement thing, what sort of questions are you looking to ask? Like happiness with their workforce, with their work environment? I mean, what sort of, I have no idea what you're asking.
Well, we haven't, that's the standard ones, and would be things around looking at satisfaction with the job, confidence in leadership, satisfaction with benefits, work-life balance, any other particular issues, and also a career development, ability to fulfill their goals, career goals.
Okay. Could I ask that the equity diversity one, there's some urgency to that, because since the day we've been meeting, we've been asking about the demographic information of the organization, which we were told was never accumulated, was never surveyed. So we didn't really have a handle on the breakdown of our staff. And I want to make sure that doesn't get lost in the engagement piece. And I would even suggest that maybe it be done separately so we don't lose it, because I know the engagement thing might take a time to consult with staff and various committees. And I know how these things happen, and I'm concerned about losing the importance of the demographic gathering. You know, the sooner we get comfortable talking about these things in practical ways and asking people these questions, that sets the tone for comfort in staff training and how to deal with issues as they occur, positive or negative, right? I don't want to put a negative spin on this, which often is the case whenever we do equity inclusion discussions. So I just want to express my concern that we make sure there's some priority attached to that, but it doesn't get lost in the general discussion about everyone. The specificity of diversity is important not to lose. Getting caught up in the discussion about everyone's needs, right? This is very specific needs. This is consistent with city efforts, certainly on the racism committee, and the priority and the staffing and the money that they've devoted to it. So I like us to follow those city cues and those city priorities. That's all.
Thanks. I agree, Brenda, and I think the fact that it's been done separate would facilitate us being able to deal with them differently and not consolidate the results. Having said that, there might be some opportunities as well for some synergies.
Sure, sure, I
especially
understand
when it comes to training and stuff. So I think my own perspective, and I see Linda hand is up. I'll get to you, Linda. I think the fact that it's separated suits different surveys great because I think gets to your point, but it also allows us to get to some of those synergies. The one question I have, Dave, on the diverse equity and inclusion survey, would this also be, would the self-identification be voluntary? It would be, right?
Yes, it will. I'm fairly certain it would be. The self-identification is usually voluntary.
Okay.
So
thanks, Linda.
If we have a low participation rate, then how are you going to handle that? Is there
well, I mean, this is a typical challenge with the DEI surveys and the self-identification piece. I think, I mean, I don't want to get into too much of the operations.
Yes, no, I understand.
But I think part of it is also, you know, when I was in government, the managers know their staff well, and directors know their folks well. So we also would have to somehow rely on their expertise to be able to give us a better sense if we find that a survey isn't quite representative of what we had expected across a corporation. So anyway, I see Tom, but Tom, before you, Linda, go ahead.
Yeah, Dave, I might have missed it. Is this an in-house survey or a city survey? And just before you answer that, I just want to say that I actually do think that the integration is actually helpful because we actually want to encourage people to complete it, and sometimes people feel like we're targeting a survey if it's actually focused in one area. And I think that the other piece that I would say is I think that there's a real I assume that there's actually a focus both in the engagement survey and understanding the results in areas such as psychological safety and physical safety, which are areas that I'm sure that are is a really important domain for the staff working in Toronto Seniors Community Housing. And I think that for me, having done recently some in healthcare, it is actually more integrated. We start to see where there actually may be differences, and that's the advantages of actually combining it a little bit, or at least actually looking at the results in a comprehensive way.
That's great comments, Linda. Thank you. Tom?
Through the chair, just to the point about kind of participation, maximizing participation rates. And I think one of the things from my experience in Hamilton, when they rolled out their employee satisfaction survey, they did, I mean, of course, communication is key, but they identified staff champions who they worked with in various areas to help encourage participation. So I really appreciate that comment, and we can focus on how we optimize that participation.
Yeah.
Good.
Yeah, that's a great point, Tom. And I think the other consideration as well is that this is the first time we're doing it as a corporation, and we want to get it right, because the next time we do it, we don't want to foster any cynicism or any apathy. So I think seems like we're heading in the right direction given the comments made by Brenda and by Linda. But yeah, I think this is quite timely, and obviously we. Tom, we look forward to having champions, and also the leadership team encouraging their staff to encourage it, because I assume all the considerations around anonymity and all that sort of stuff would continue to be reinforced, so they feel comfortable completing it without any attribution. Okay, anything else? Carrie, you're good?
Everyone.
Good. Warren?
Yeah, I'm fine, thank you.
Good. All right. Okay, so that brings us to the end of the public session, public portion of the agenda. Unless there's any other business, I would ask for a motion to adjourn the public session and go into camera.
So move, Mr. Chair.
Thank you, Warren. May I have a seconder?
Sorry.
Thanks, Brenda. All in favor? Any opposed?